What's up guys, thanks for tuning in on today's video. I'm Gabe. On today's vlog how-to video, I'm going to be finally fixing my 2010 Camaro SS. You guys can see through the title of the video, I am addressing a really minor fault that I experienced on last week's story. You guys can check out my Instagram where I upload a bunch of stories that I don't normally upload on YouTube. It's also the best way to get in contact with me if you have any questions. But last week I was taking my girlfriend and I on a very wonderful, pleasure, romantic cruise to the downtown Miami area, when all of a sudden we were just coming to a stoplight and we just see a bunch of smoke start to pop out of the engine, out of the heat extractor there, everywhere. There was just so much smoke coming out. And my initial thoughts for a second were, oh gosh, I burned the clutch, or I did something, because I had downshifted there. Well, as it started to progress, a couple of seconds went by, I started to smell the sweet, yet sour smell of the coolant. And I knew exactly what it was, which was a breach, or an explosion rather, of radiation, of coolant. So I was able to identify, because it's actually very obvious where the incident occurred. It's gonna be right there, that little tear that you see there. This was exactly like in the movies where, the pressure is building up, sort of like the Chernobyl BBC show, where they were showing how just all that pressure and all that heat was building up and it just exploding through steam. That's exactly what it looked like. On my Instagram stories, I was showing you guys that I actually had to resort to driving the car and shutting it off, waiting about 30 minutes for the car to cool down and do the same thing. I did that about 4 times. Luckily, I wasn't too far from this building parking lot. I was very lucky and very fortunate. This repair is really easy to do. There's not much tools that are needed. I believe for the 2010 Camaro, it comes in like this T inlet. This is called I guess a radiator hose inlet. And what it does is basically come with 3 different pieces. So the first part up there would go connected down here. This bottom hose, you guys can kind of see it there, right there. You may not be able to see it too well. This part would go to the radiator itself. All of the products that I'm using in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and link it in the description so you guys can have that and obviously order it from there. I bought this for about $42 on AutoZone. Surprisingly, it was a lot cheaper. Obviously, it's a different brand. I've got my 3 gallons of coolant there. I don't think I'm gonna be using all the coolant because that night I definitely did not, drain the car completely. There had to be about a gallon or so missing of coolant, and that's pretty scary. I mean, the numbers were climbing up very rapidly. It was starting to get very hot, and the one thing that you don't want your engine to ever do is overheat. All right guys, after looking at this for a couple seconds here, what I think I'm gonna just do is basically swap out this piece and just put it in place there. And I'm gonna keep this as a spare. I know I should kind of just do it all at once, but I was inspecting the other hoses and they seem to be okay. This tie is really gonna keep this from ever touching like it did before. This actually went on after this started happening, because that's when I noticed it. So this should really keep it in place. I don't really see any need of changing out this tab. It definitely doesn't look the prettiest, but it is what it is, guys. General Motors, man. Okay, so we brought this over here. So I'm actually gonna finish loosening this over here. For that, I'm gonna need my handy dandy screwdriver and just keep on twisting. And then, this is really annoying to do, I'll admit, but I'm so thankful that it was just something as silly as this. The position where it's at, I mean, I'm super blessed that it's also facing out towards this area where I have so much space to work with. It's just, I lucked out, guys. I'm really thankful. One thing you want to have is towels, because this is going to probably leak a lot of fluid, and this towel is just so freaking gross. I mean, this is just soaked in coolant. Now luckily putting it in won't be as difficult as taking it out, but we'll see how that goes. So I just did something that really you should not replicate, which is I tried prying the hose off with a screwdriver, and all that did was just damage that here. So try not to do that, guys. Try using something else to maybe clamp on it and just pull out. And this is the old hose. That little rupture right here caused so much, I mean, a gallon worth of fluid. I mean, imagine how much heat and pressure this car goes through. All right, so we're going ahead and start the procedure of transferring this new hose onto the old T piece. Apologize for not showing it, guys, but I was able to playing and you know, massaging certain edges and, you know, making it loose up here. Jesus, I know that sounds strange. I was able to actually fit it on. I'm not really too concerned about that little piece tripping off there, but as you guys can see, it now fits in snug. Perfect for the clamp to go on here. Okay, I wanted to show you guys how I look. Sweat equity right here, baby. We were able to actually, there's nobody else here. So now we are officially done with this. Whew, I'm out of breath. Jesus, man, I can't believe I'm so out of breath for such a simple procedure. It's a good thing I never became a surgeon. So now, let's fill this girl up. Okay guys, so I've been letting it run for about 30 seconds or so. I'm gonna wait a couple more seconds just for the car, you know, to let the coolant circulate around the whole system. And then I'm gonna turn it off because I don't want it to just explode and boil out. And well, I'm gonna start just packaging everything because I'm gonna be here for quite a while doing this, just to make sure that, again, this car has enough coolant so we don't come across any overheating issues down the line. You guys can see it in the description, but I'm using the General Motors DEX-COOL 5050. This is the solution that you don't really actually have to mix it yourself. It already kind of comes with it from the manufacturer or the production. I'm gonna clean that up, don't worry. So right now what I'm doing is just adding more coolant because, again, the car needs to be on for it to properly circulate. All right guys, so we're about an hour and 30 minutes into the whole entire job. The sun is starting to set, so I will resume tomorrow when I actually drive the car and test out how the cooling system is as a whole, if the car is staying within healthy parameters. You basically want to just keep on putting coolant, start the car for a little bit, let the coolant circulate until you do that and you start to see an overflow. All right, so transition. All right guys, it is the next day and here I have my 2010 Camaro SS out in the open. Beautiful day indeed. Even though this car is absolutely filthy, it just shines so nicely under the light here and you really get a hint of that blue color. My gosh, does it have a lot of scratches on it. I got to do some detailing. Something that I should have mentioned that is very, very obvious should be to check the coolant dipstick. That should tell you if you have enough coolant in the system. But the other method of just making sure that the overflow, if the overflow happens after doing that, turning on the car on and off, if that happens, then you should be fine. So let's go ahead and take the car off for a spin. Yeah, I can never get tired of this interior. Guys, seriously, honestly can't get tired of that, man. So what I've noticed in the past is that the coolant temperature on my car, and I think this is like pretty well known across 5th generation Camaros, a good running temperature should be around 179 to 200. That is like within normal levels. If it starts to climb up consistently, like I mentioned before, it's something that is not necessarily good. When you're in heavy traffic, obviously you're gonna hit those higher temperatures because there's not much airflow and everything is moving to keep it nice and cool. Once the coolant temperature starts to reach a certain point, like 225, around there, the fans will automatically kick on to make sure that the engine bay is cool, so that will drop that amount. Right now seems to be pretty cooperative. I don't really see it exceeding any sort of crazy temperatures. God, oh my god, I love driving this car so much. All right, so we're stuck in some mild traffic, which is actually a perfect place to test out the cooling system in the car, and honestly, so far so good. I think the maximum temp that I've actually reached today was 194. It's actually right now. We're not too far away from the parking garage, so I guess now would be a good time to just summarize the experience so far. There is still an abundance in the coolant smell, and that's just because there is literally dried coolant all over the engine bay, so I actually have to like wash that off. But that's about it. I mean, look, the coolant temperature is still kind of like hanging around that 196, 180 area, which is exactly where I need it to be. And I never really had any other problems with that. So let's just enjoy the rest of the drive. Oh God, I miss being able to do that. Oh man, I'm so glad you are up and running again. All right guys, so we made it back to the parking spot, and I'm proud to say that we successfully did the operation of swapping out the old hoses. The car runs great. Another thing I wanted to point out is that there are no leaks from the newly installed parts, no leaks from the radiator cap. Everything is in really good order. Now that the Camaro is up and running again, I'll be filming a lot more content, so stick around. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps out tremendously with the algorithms. If you guys enjoy my videos overall, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And lastly, guys, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my how-tos, my vlogs, and any other video, as a matter of fact. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.